Welcome to the Explainer. We're jumping right into some material that poses a really interesting question. What if the standard playbook for managing diabetes is missing some key pieces? It makes a case for 4 specific antioxidants, and we're going to break that down.
So, the source we're digging into really kicks things off by challenging the way we usually think about this. It asks, hey, what if medications aren't the complete picture? The idea is that there might be other, kind of hidden factors at play that most people just aren't looking at.
And what is that hidden factor? Well, the material points to something called oxidative stress. Think of it like this constant low-level damage happening to your cells. It's described as this ongoing battle that, according to the source, our usual treatments might not be winning on their own.
All right, so to fight back against this oxidative stress, the source brings in what you could call 4 heroes. Let's dive into the first one it puts in the spotlight, alpha-lipoic acid, or you'll often see it called ALA. So what's the big deal with ALA? Well, it's got this nickname, the universal antioxidant. And that's because it's pretty unique. It can work its magic in both the watery parts and the fatty parts of your body. That means it has this incredible reach that a lot of other antioxidants just don't have.
And this is where it gets really interesting. The source makes a pretty bold claim here. It says that taking ALA in therapeutic doses has been shown to drop HbA1c, that really important number for long-term blood sugar, by as much as 1.8 percentage points. That's a huge number.
So how in the world does it do that?
Well, according to the material, ALA can actually help your muscle cells pull in glucose directly by a whopping 61%. It's essentially acting a bit like insulin itself. Okay, so what does this mean in the real world? The source gives us a little cheat sheet. For food, think red meat, organ meats, and spinach. For dosage, it suggests a range of 600 to 1,200 milligrams a day. But, and this is super important, it comes with a major warning. You have to keep a close eye on your glucose because you might even need to adjust your other medications. All right, on to antioxidant number 2. Let's see what it brings to the table. We're talking about coenzyme Q10, but you've probably heard it called CoQ10. Now, this one is all about energy. The source calls it the cellular energizer. I mean, get this. It's apparently responsible for producing 95% of the energy your cells use. That's just massive, especially for powerhouse organs like your heart. And just like with ALA, we've got another pretty impressive number here. The material points to studies that suggest CoQ10 could drop that HbA1c number by up to 1.3 percentage points in about 12 weeks. So, for the practical side of things, you'll find a lot of it in foods like beef heart, sardines, and mackerel. The suggested dose is around 200 to 400 milligrams a day, and you'll want to take it with a fatty meal to help your body absorb it. Now, pay attention to these 2 warnings. The source says statin users are often low on CoQ10, and it could mess with the effectiveness of blood thinners like warfarin. Okay, our third one is a name I'm sure you recognize, but the source gives it a really specific and maybe surprising job in this whole picture. Let's talk about ascorbic acid, better known as vitamin C. The source frames this one as a foundational protector. I mean, it's the body's main water-soluble antioxidant, and it's supposedly involved in over 300 different things your body does, from fighting off germs to building collagen. It's a real workhorse. But here's the really wild part. According to this material, it's what vitamin C does in your gut. It claims it can actually block some of the sugar from your food from even getting absorbed in the first place. We're talking a reduction of 34 to 41%, which could be a game changer for those big spikes after you eat. Now, you'll find it in foods like guava, red bell peppers, and kiwi, and the source suggests a dose of 1 to 2,000 milligrams a day. But you absolutely have to hear this warning. High doses of vitamin C can apparently interfere with a shocking 73% of glucose meter strips, and that could give you a false low reading. That is something you really need to know. All right, that brings us to number 4, the final antioxidant from our source material. We're talking about alpha-tocopherol. That's the sciencey name for the most active form of vitamin E. So if vitamin C was the foundational protector, think of vitamin E as the membrane defender. Its whole job, as the source describes it, is to guard the fragile outer layer of your cells, kind of like a bodyguard, protecting them from that oxidative stress we talked about. And a huge benefit that gets highlighted here is heart health. The claim is that vitamin E can stop that bad LDL cholesterol from oxidizing by up to 44%. And that's a really big deal because that oxidation process is a key first step in plaque building up in your arteries. Okay, let's look at the practical stuff one last time. For food sources, we're talking sunflower seeds, almonds, and wheat germ oil. The dosage is typically around 400 to 800 IU a day. And of course, there are important warnings. High doses might increase your risk of bleeding, and the source specifically points out that smokers should probably steer clear of high-dose supplements.
So, we've gone through all 4 of these antioxidants in pretty good detail. Now what? What's the big takeaway here? What's the action plan? Okay, let's boil it all down. The source basically gives each of these a superpower, right? Alpha-lipoic acid is the one that acts like insulin. CoQ10 is the one that powers up your cells. Ascorbic acid, or vitamin C, is the one that blocks sugar from your food. And alpha-tocopherol, vitamin E, is the one that defends your cells. And now we get to what is, without a doubt, the single most important slide of this whole explainer. Safety first. Look, everything we've talked about today comes directly from the source material we're analyzing. But let's be crystal clear. This is not medical advice. It is absolutely critical that you talk to your doctor before you even think about starting any of these supplements. They're the only ones who can tell you if it's safe for you and how it might interact with anything you're already taking. So we'll end with the question that this whole breakdown really leads to. Could an antioxidant be the missing piece in your personal wellness puzzle? Based on everything the source material puts forward, is this a conversation that might be worth having with your doctor? And really, that's a question for you and them to figure out together.